About the box office here, and this is we have to talk about 8 movies today. So the number one movie for I think the third week straight is Avatar: The Way of the Water. I'm surprised that this movie's having such good ratings, considering the fact that I'm talking about ratings in America. The first movie did extremely well internationally, so it's not too surprising this movie doing well internationally. But I thought this movie would do way worse than expected domestically because of how it performed on second weekend. We had a 53% drop. It had a 33% drop, which defied the expectations of this. Because you look at this movie, it dropped 50% from last week, 64%, 66%, 54%, but the only thing that really saved it for being a 50% drop was the Saturday totals. Will Avatar reach 2 billion? It really depends on the next couple of weeks and the weekend drops. Again, this movie is doing really well internationally. Again, the movie actually did okay in China, made $180 million, but it's doing really well in Korea and all these other countries, India and all these countries. So this movie is actually doing relatively well, even in China. It have pretty decent rigs in places like China and Australia. So this movie is doing pretty well internationally as well, making it one of the few movies to make $1 billion internationally. I thought this movie would do way worse. I thought that this movie would cap out at 1.5 billion. I've always thought that this movie would make half of the original, or around that margin, which would be around 1.5 billion. And this movie has passed 1.5 billion. But again, I was the same person who thought Top Gun Maverick would cap out at $700, $800 million. And that was the maximum amount of movie that the movie will ever make. And I thought Minions: The Rise of Gru would make $1 billion. So I guess my box office predictions, they should not be trusted whatsoever. Because I thought Minions: The Rise of Gru would make $1 billion. I thought Top Gun wouldn't. I thought Avatar would make 1.5 billion to $1 billion, or even less than $1 billion, which was pretty unlikely considering the first movie made so much money. Me as well. So I wonder if Secret Wars can top it. That's coming out. Next is M3GAN. So this movie has broken even already. This movie got review bombed before it came out, like Angry Birds Movie 2 and the Sonic movies. I don't understand it. The movie is not out yet, so he shouldn't be giving reviews for it. But for some reason, IMDb said, okay, they released it, early. They released it in Italy and Spain, so people will review bombing this movie because this movie it's supposed to teach a lesson that you can't really let technology control your kid because it's not a good thing. Next, we have The Insane Legs of Puss in Boots. This movie has been doing extremely well at the box office for its low opening. I think this movie will pass $100 million domestically, and this movie should be able to make money, which is very, very good for people who love this movie, because a lot of people say this movie is amazing, it's fantastic, it's one of the greatest animated movies of the year, and the fact that it's making a lot of money is, the fact that it's going to make back its money is pretty good, just like The Bad Guys did, which, this movie has made money, unlike Right Year, and unlike, Strange World, so yeah. Which what happens when you make an actually good animated movie that people want to see. I think this movie will be extremely popular on streaming services as well, and on Blu-ray and DVD as well, and digital services. Next is A Man Called Otto. This movie is a box office failure at its current moment, but again, this movie is not only in 600 theaters, it has done pretty impressive for a movie that only in 600 theaters as well. Actually doing pretty okay. But again, this movie needs to make around $120 million worldwide, which it is going to go into a wider release later, so we'll wait to see how this movie does later, because it's coming out wider on January 14th. Batman Wakanda Forever, again, nothing really to talk about, made $825 million. That movie actually did around my predictions, so Marvel movies are doing around my predictions This movie, box office failure, nobody wants to see it. I Want to Dance with Somebody. This movie's doing abysmally at the box office. Nobody wants to see this movie. This movie is leaving the theaters as fast as I can say kabooey. Same thing, The Whale. This movie has made $8 million, and yeah. And the last movie we're talking about is Babylon. This movie's gonna start leaving theaters like it's the plague. Nobody wants to see this movie. This movie lost $200 million. Which again was the money that Alita was supposed to lose. Remember that. Alita was supposed to lose $200 million. But Margot Robbie's Disaster is going to lose $250 million at the box office, which is pretty hilarious to see. So yeah, this is one of the biggest box office flops of all time, along with Strange World as well. And that's basically this video here. Goodbye.